Hey everybody, welcome this Wednesday night after Dynamite. This is Wrestling Fan Insight post AEW Dynamite space. I'm your host, Carlos Estrada. I'm joined here with John. How are you doing, John?
Oh, I am just peachy today. I,
so
I'm a little bit sore because I got my COVID booster, so I'm one arm down.
I
So,
think I'm getting mine tomorrow.
so any of you who are watching Dynamite and saw technical glitches there, you might see a repeat here.
So I want to thank those people who joined us in the room already. I was having technical difficulties with my phone. I think when I go and invite people, it glitches for some reason. The third time's a charm. So we're here now. So I'm going to just go over the results of Dynamite, and then I received Power Out. You have a request to join the thing. Let me just go over the results really quick that we can get into discussing tonight. Also, we're up to discuss if you guys want to talk about anything happened on Raw or NXT as well, we can do that. But just really quick, I'm going to approve the mic request, but just hold on to talking until we do over this first. So tonight, AEW Dynamite was coming out of Colorado, and the first match we had Penta defeating Jeff Jarrett in an open challenge for the international title. Then we had an interview segment with MJF and Jarrett. I think it was MJF and then Adam Cole at the bow, and then they had the what's his name, the big Paul White come on as Captain Insano, which I actually thought was a good use of that for all the money Tony Khan paid for that. So I thought that was really, really good. That was like pretty much the best part of Dynamite, if you ask me. And then there was an interview segment with the Don Callis family. They came out and just talked smack, and then Eddie, and then Sammy Guevara stealing Adam Page's gimmick. And then we had Nick Jackson defeat Claudio and Brian Cage in a three-way match, and now he'll get a title match next week for the international title. MJF and Cole again were doing an in-ring segment. They announced that MJF is going to be defending the titles by himself this Sunday at Wrestle Dream in a handicap match against the Righteous. And then we had Christian and Darby in an interview with JR, which is, it was the same stuff we've already been seeing with Christian talking about, Darby's parents and everything, all these people who died. So again, Christian's the best heel right now in wrestling. I think besides Dom and Don Callis, but I love it. He's the heel that you hate. So I think that's really good. He's doing a good job there. Then we had Orange Cassidy defeat Matt Jackson, Austin Gunn, and Penta in a four-way match. And again, it was just a four match to go into what they are going to be doing this week on Sunday. And then we had Julie Hart defeat Willow Nightingale. And then in the main segment of the night was a promo. It was a contract signing between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. So again, for me, I know, just kind of going quickly over the card, I wasn't really impressed with this card. I think, especially for going into a go home pay-per-view show, I really thought this was really weak. Again, to me, it's been one of the things before where I feel like they've had. What's that?
One second there, Power Parts.
I don't know if you're, so just wait a second to speak. And then if you're going to speak, I don't know if that was just, if you're doing a gimmick there, but maybe I disconnected. But just really quick, hold on, let's go. Here we go again. Second.
You're good to talk.
Okay. So again, I just want better out of them for the pay. I feel like there's been times where they've had go home pay-per-views before the pay-per-view, and I was like, man, I really wish that they would have, only had 4 matches this week, and then they would have just kind of built more into the segments. And I just feel like this one, I don't know, it just was a big miss for me. They only had 4 matches. The segments, again, I feel like when you're given an opportunity, you should pivot. And I feel like with the whole MJF thing, I feel like they should have had him defending the title against Jay White, honestly, this weekend, instead of defending the ROH tag titles in a handicap match. To me, it's just, if you're given an opportunity, you got to pivot and give people something better, not a downgrade. And I just feel like the tag team handicap match is a downgrade. Again, again, to me, I would just like to see this. Are they going to keep them with the championships until Adam Cole's ankle heels because it's broken in 3 places. I just feel like they needed to pivot here and they didn't. And I just felt the card just felt like lazy booking. And I hate to coin Cornette because I don't really like the man. But that's exactly what this card felt like. If it just felt like lazy booking. And to me, they have such a big roster that they could be utilizing other guys besides the guys that are already going to be in tag team matches. Like, I don't get why you have, the international champion in a 4-way match for the titles when you have other tag teams that could be getting tag team matches. And to me, it was just too much of the same people. I don't understand why Nick Jackson's getting is getting an international title match next week when they have so many other superstars that could be getting those kind of title shots. It just feels like the wrong kind of pivot after everything that happened with Moxley. Did you want to share your thoughts, John, on the show?
It's pretty similar to what you were saying, but rather than highlighting all the negatives, let's highlight the couple of positives that I've noted. One, that opening match for the AEW International Championship. I thought Ray Phoenix did a really awesome job in that match. The guy just he's showing why he was deserving of a singles title there in that company, and kudos to Ray for getting a well-deserved victory on that. But I also want to say what a improvement Julia Hart has made over the years. That match she just had with Willow Nightingale toward the end of the night, she definitely shows that she's got some potential. I don't think she's going to walk away with the TBS championship, but I do see her as a future champion.
Yeah, and that's something I don't want to focus on negatives either. But I just wasn't really impressed with the show. The thing for me is I just wish, like, for example, like, to me, like I agree with you. I think Penta deserves to be in a singles title reign. Like, you had this opportunity, you were given this thing. I mean, he is a former, what's it called, Lucha Underground world champion. No. So if you want to speak power out, if you can go ahead, and if you want to talk about what's going on the show, that's fine. But if you're just gonna just kind of interrupt the conversation, we're gonna have to mute you. So let me know what you want to do. It's fine if you want to speak, but just please have something to say.
Why don't you go ahead, Carlos?
Oh, but like, to me, like again, it's like, to me, if you're gonna have Penta let Penta have a run. Like, again, like, him and his brother Bo could be single stars in the company, but they're just they've been in a tag team. So if you're gonna let them be single stars, let them be single stars. But then let another tag team get the opportunity to have an AEW title match instead of them. Like, I feel like with them in the 4-way match, it's like it's already a given to me that they're not going to win the match. And so to me, that's the one thing. No. All right, power out. So I'm gonna give you one last chance. So again,
hang on, they can't hear you.
Oh,
you need to unmute. Don't do a mute hold. Okay. Just do a mute count only.
All right.
Okay, you're good. Go ahead, Carlos.
So what was I? So again, to me, like, I feel like with having them inside inside this 4-way match, it's already a team that is not going to win. Because to me, if you're going to have him be a single star, let him be a single star, and then why not put Penta with the TNT title match? Again, there's not that they're not deserving of being single stars. It's just that I don't see. There's plenty of other tag teams that they could be having, get a title match. Again, it's just one of those things where I just don't understand what's going on with that. So, I mean, that's my thing about that, and then to me too, if you are going to have, I would just rather have MJF defending the title in the match. Again, if him and Adam Cole can't be champions, then pivot, and I would rather see the fatal 4-way be for whoever's going to fight the Righteous later on to be the Ring of Honor tag team champions. I just feel like there's a lot of things that happened last week, and I don't feel like they're pivoting correctly. And I want to see Orange Cassidy going after a world title too, instead of going, being in a tag team with Hook. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I don't know if I really have much thoughts of it. Again, this is where it comes into where we don't really like most of what Jim Cornette says about today's wrestling, but this tag team just doesn't make sense and it's not gelling with me. So, as far as so is this supposed to be like a fatal four-way for the tag team championship or
So they're having so the
what's
idea
the
for this
order?
match is this going to be a fatal four way, and um, whoever wins they get a tag team title shot anytime. So I
Yeah,
guess it's
I'm,
gonna.
I'm gonna leave it alone, throw it in the campfire, let it be.
Yeah. So it just again, it's just one of those lazy booking things, and it just to me is like, oh, and that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't like why you have like to me like look. I just feel like to me I feel like with having Penta be in a tag team match with his brother at the show instead of even defending his title, I just feel like they're not doing him any favors and being believable as a champion. Even though we all know that Penta can cook and he can wrestle a singles match. Again, he's a former Lucha Underground World Champion. I mean, I've seen this man in plenty of singles matches. So it's not that I know that he can't. It's just the way they're booking him's not doing him any favors. As far as if you don't need to be putting him in a tag team match. There's plenty of other tag teams they have right now that they could be doing, and they're just not. Like throw the Hardys in there, throw the Acclaimed in there.
Well,
Go ahead.
not to mention you got Ray already being the reigning defending international champion. So, I mean, are you trying to take the focus off Ray and make them back to a tag team, or
Yeah, like I said,
not?
yeah, it's just not doing him any favors. Exactly.
Just I mean, poor Penta. He's probably like, "What the hell?" And then, Ray won the championship as we found out, mainly because Mox was injured, so they had to change that whole finish moment's notice. So, yeah, we don't. It's kind of a mess right now.
Chris, go ahead. You had your hand up. What do you want to say? Christopher, I should say. Sorry.
Basically, the thing is, I think they're doing with MGF is basically to do it by himself and try to win. I don't know, but that's what I think. They're going to make him look like an underdog, but that's just my opinion. They might do that. I don't know.
But to me, it just doesn't make like. So let me ask you this question, Christopher. Do you want to see with Cole injured now? I mean, do you think they should be continuing the storyline, or do you think they should have just stripped him of the titles and had him not defend it? Because to me, it feels like they're going to have him defend it once, and then what? They're not going to make him defend it for another 6 months.
That's a hard question, man. They might carry this for freaking a year, and then when he comes back, then they'll probably do the story again and have this long story like the Roman Reigns story. I don't know. I really don't know.
What would you prefer?
I don't care really because the thing is, what was the end of the story? Really good with Jay White getting beaten up with people, and then the camera gets off with freaking MGF with the freaking Devo mask. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
no, and to me, like, I mean, and too, the interesting thing is like Max needs friends, right? So is he going to get Wardlow back? I mean, there's a lot of different ways they could take this storyline, but to me, I don't want to feel like the Ring of Honor championships are going to be held hostage. But I mean, I guess the only I rather see him. I rather have seen him. This is just my opinion. I rather have seen him. I rather have seen them forfeit the tag team matches titles than see him take a loss as the world champion, even if it's gonna be in a handicap match. I rather not just see him take a loss, and I rather have just seen them forfeit the titles. That's just my opinion.
Oh, and then what lazy booking is with his Monday Night Raw with the Judgment Day every freaking week. That's lazy booking. Worse, lazy booking than that. That's just my opinion. That's lazy booking.
It's just
hardcore. There's no freaking hardcore or anything with that. So that's just my opinion on that.
I feel like with that one, they're just prolonging it to War Games, But I'm already tired of because it's just like insert this wrestler, and a tag match against the Judgment Day every week. It is getting very boring.
Yeah. I don't see that with Impact or MLW.
Shout them out. I mean, again, those companies definitely deserve the love.
Yeah.
Honestly, to me, I think NXT is doing the best job of booking right now. They're doing really good storylines. Like I'm more excited for NXT No Mercy than I am for Wrestle Dream, if I'm being honest. Even though I know the matches are going to cook, I think they've done a really good job of building that card and doing the storytelling and doing the matches and the segments. Again, hats off to Chad Frost, as I like to refer to him, as I think they did a really good job with NXT.
Yeah. But I think Wrestle Dream is going to be good. No Mercy is going to be good too. I think both of them are going to be good. That's just my opinion.
For sure, it's definitely gonna be a good weekend of wrestling. And again, we still have SmackDown, which I'm going to be at this Friday, which I'm pretty excited about. It's going to be coming from Sacramento, so I'll be there. I'm a little bummed. I don't think LA Knight's going to be there, but it'll still be a good show.
Watching that,
huh?
Have a great time going.
Oh, thanks. I definitely am. It's going to be I think there's 12,000 people already that are going to be there. It's sold out, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they come to my short town that I live, small town that I live in, but AEW doesn't come here, but WWE does though.
Are you in Colorado too?
No, I'm in Kansas. I put Colorado because I missed my hometown.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I live in a small town in Kansas. So
nice.
Yeah.
But WWE goes there, but AEW doesn't?
No.
That's shocking.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, I think that'll change soon because it seems to me like that AEW does a lot of small towns, so maybe you'll get there very soon.
Yeah. Then the Swerve and Adam Page thing was pretty funny tonight. I thought that was pretty funny. With that,
I agree with that too. Go ahead. Yeah.
Beat John Moxley earlier this year and all that, and that Texas Death match, which was great at Revolution.
Yeah, I was there too. That was in San Francisco. I was at that show. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
No, to me, I just hope that Swerve stays. I mean, if you're gonna be putting Swerve in a main event contract signing with Hangman and Page, I just hope that he's going to be as presented as a main event star going forward, which I'm all for. I think that's what a lot of fans want to see. So I just hope that if they're going to be having Swerve if they're going to be having him in the main event segment closing out Dynamite, I hope that that means that they're going to be pushing him as a main event star. So I think that's definitely a positive.
Hopefully they do. Because Swerve is good, man. Swerve is great.
I agree.
I just wish the Mogul Embassy would still be the 6-man tag team champions, but the Elite has that now and Adam Page, so.
Oh, for sure. And I do too. Like, I mean, at the same time, like I feel like they weren't really making an impact with the titles. But again, at the same time, like I said this last week, I'm not really okay with, like I feel like the Ring of Honor titles are for because he doesn't want to take the 6-man titles off the Acclaim, so he's going to put them on them. And it's just to me, they should just be more developmental titles. Like to me, I feel like I think the Dark Order should be the Ring of Honor 6-man champions right now. Like I just feel like they'd be better off doing that, or they have the Elite feuding with the Acclaim. Unless someone was already there talking about it, I think today on the Hump, they were talking about how they think maybe it's just that Tony Khan's going to be looking to book a big Ring of Honor show in December, so that's why he's putting all these titles on all the AEW guys. But for me, I rather see other guys get those shots. But I want to see Brian Cage cook as a single star, and not just be losing all the time either. I'm irritated with that.
Yeah, I'll let you guys speak. I like listening to you, John and Carlos. I appreciate you guys.
Well, thanks, Christopher. Appreciate you talking.
Thank you, Christopher.
Any thoughts on what he had to say, John?
No, I mean, I think he pretty much touched base with what the general fans are feeling, similar to you too. I mean, I think it's pretty evident we want these companies to kind of step it up a little bit. Like you mentioned, props to Chad from NXT. They've been definitely the ultimate show of the last few weeks. AEW is kind of the cluster at the moment. They really need to figure out something, whether it's get a creative team or whatever structure they need. Right now, it's just not working. It's a mess. They lost their biggest star, as we all know, Jade Cargill. Now officially today with the WWE, I actually had a conversation with my very first co-host of the Wrestling Fans Insight podcast earlier today, and he was actually asking me, "Well, do you think that was really a big blow to AEW?" And I said, "Yes."
Is this your brother or somebody else?
No, this was Dustin Homer, the very first co-host.
Okay.
Will was the second co-host, but when he mentioned to me, "Do you really think Jade was that big of a blow to AEW?" I said, "Yeah, that was their most dominant female star." I mean, that if WWE just offered her a multi-year big contract, obviously she was doing something right, and Tony Khan let her go. That's on Tony Khan.
Again, I'm waiting for more stuff to come out with this. We talked about this, but I feel like, yeah, they fumbled the bag. I mean, to me, that's like the biggest crossover star you had. I don't care if she isn't as good as a wrestler yet. Like you guys, they should have had her working every week at the roads at the at either where there was a Nightmare Factory. You could have booked her on independent shows. There's more you could have her doing. And then just having her wrestle every week. But keeping her away from all the other big women. I mean, she obviously wanted those marquee matches. I don't blame her for leaving. And again, it's just I don't think you're not going to get me to justify Tony Khan's booking of women. For me, he can die on that hill by himself because, I mean, his actions just show over and over to me that he doesn't care about the women's wrestling. He doesn't see it as a draw. He just does it because the fans want it. But I mean, this is just like the last cherry on top that just shows that he doesn't get it. And to me, like she's their biggest opportunity to be a crossover star. And I heard a good. Like who was it that was talking about it? Oh, it was I think it might have been Bully on Busted Open talking about AEW doesn't know how to make stars. Yeah, they give people the opportunity to be a star, but they don't know how to make stars. And I think that was a valid point that he said, and I think that they have an opportunity. If you shine, you shine, but they should know how to make stars. And I think when you look at Jay, she's a star, and just let her walk away was dumb. Especially, I don't think she's fake, and I think the comments she made a few weeks ago were genuine. I think she was really genuine with her comments. I think she really did like Tony Khan. Hey Chris, can you mute your mic because we had a lot of static coming through you right now. Thank you. And so I just think that. I think her comments were genuine as far as what is, what she was saying about Tony Khan a few weeks ago, being, a good boss and not just feeling just like she was just another number there with the WWE system. I think they're all genuine, but I think, when she had an opportunity to go and just looking at the fact that she was being kept away from the booking, it's a big miss for them, and I think Ricky Starks is the next person to join them in the wrestling, especially when I see Jade talking about her best friend, Ricky Starks. I'm like, oh, he's next.
Well, when Cody went over, he said there would be more stars to follow. And I'm going to tell you right now, everything Cody said, I'm going to believe it, because if Tony Khan doesn't get his shit together, he's going to find out how quick that company is going to go downhill.
Oh yeah, and again, I think that's something everybody needs to understand. Like we want to see this company succeed. We're fans of this company. It's just like, we want to see best, and we want to see more wrestlers having more jobs. And I just feel like how bad's it going to have to get before Tony Khan realizes he can't handle everything? Because I think that's showing right now, especially with the booking, is showing that he can't handle everything. And it's really bad, and I'm hoping for better. I'm really hoping that it gets better. but it's obvious that he can't really handle being the Jaguars, being with the Jaguars, running his other company, the soccer company, and all this too. It's just too much for him, and it's showing in the product right now. But he said that he thinks more stars are going to follow out the door.
Well, he said that when he initially signed with WWE and after WrestleMania that.
Oh, you mean Cody said it because you said Tony?
No, I said Cody.
Okay, I thought I heard Tony. Sorry.
No, you need to unplug your ears tonight. So I actually did say Cody.
Okay.
I am not that tired yet. The COVID shot hasn't affected my brain yet either. So, but you know,
to be determined.
Yeah, but Cody did mention that other stars will follow if they can't get it together, and I'm not sure if some of that was said because even though he said in his documentary that he didn't leave AEW because of stars or the money or blah blah blah. Well, I don't necessarily buy that either, but he can say whatever he wants there. I think when CM Punk came into play, I think certain people saw, nah, we ain't gonna deal with this. So, and for the money Punk was getting too, it just, I don't get what Tony Khan was thinking in the whole deal. I'm glad he signed Punk and tried to give Punk a chance, but I don't think I would offer a veteran that high of money either. I can understand why Cody in a way kind of felt a little flabbergasted not getting more money out of Tony. So he made the right choice going to WWE. And here's the thing for Tony, if you got stars, you need to pay them what they're worth. I'm sorry, Tony, but it's time to be the boss, time to make the big boy decisions. Quit being the goddamn wrestling fan. Start running your company like you're the owner of a company.
Oh, and even if you were listening to Eddie, I don't know if you saw like Eddie Kingston's, comments too. He's like he loves Tony, but he's too nice, and I agree with that too. It's like it's time to quit being nice, and it's just time to and at the same time though, it's like if you don't want to be that boss, then just have other people do it for you. So like if you don't want to be the bad guy, but it's like he's his own worst enemy too, because he can't let go of control enough to let other people book the show for him. So it's like if he could just let other people book for him and let them give away the power, it's like he wouldn't have to deal with that because he could let them be the bad guys. But obviously he can't do that either, So it's like he damned if you do, damn you do, damn if you don't,
Well, yeah. That's my position in the company I work for. I'm not trying to throw myself into the spotlight, but that's what guys like me are for, is to be the bad guy. Because if the owner feels like they don't want to dare make that decision, have somebody make it for you.
And exactly. That's why you have management positions,
That's why you have teams. That's why you have departments. That's why you have structure. Believe it or not, that word structure, it goes a long way to have that in a company.
So, John, are you saying that you're the reason people don't have Choco Tacos anymore?
No, don't you even start that again. Thanks. Now, positively, Chris is going to come after me and a couple others that I'm not going to mention.
You heard it here first. John Hoppe is the reason there's no more Choco Tacos.
And just so everybody knows, my DMs are closed in X now, thanks to Carl.
But I'm even interested to see, like what WWE does with Brian Pillman. They had a little vignette for him yesterday, and I'm excited to see what they do for him too. I mean, and again, too, that's another one where at a point, him and Griff Garrison were the hottest tag team in AEW, and they were the number one ranked tag team. And they, and again, it's like one of those things where were they going to win the tag titles? And now he's with NXT, and I think they're going to do great things with him. So I'm really excited what they do with him as well.
Yeah, and and don't take this the wrong way. I don't expect people to be brand loyal, but if go where your opportunities are being presented to you, if it makes sense, go for it. But if it doesn't make sense, don't be afraid to seek the other opportunities either. But it frustrates me to see where a lot of the talent who've been utilized, been getting certain pushes, and then the next thing we know, they're no longer with the company. I mean, you look at what happened with Mustafa Ali. He was set up to go against Dom last week for the NXT North American Championship. Or was that supposed to be this week?
It was supposed to be this Saturday.
Oh, it was supposed to be this Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's not happening. You know,
They didn't even address. They're just like, oh, they didn't talk about they. To me, it should have been worked out too, where they should have just told him, we're gonna release you, let you go, but you can still finish out this match. Like, I think he would have been okay with that.
yeah, it's kind of like Bret Hart with the WWF Championship. He already overworked the amount of matches in his contract. He was just being a nice guy, but we saw what Vince did to him. The Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying go have a screw job with them, but give them their due diligence if they're willing to work it out for you.
But I think it's one of those things where, again, like I feel like all these, and again, that's the thing I feel like with these companies, especially with WWE, I feel like they make so much money off their television rights. They have the attitude of like they need us to watch for the ratings, but it's almost like you should be grateful you get to watch this on TV for free. And if we want to switch a match and we want to change something, we're going to just do that. And I feel like, and I feel like that's really there. It's such a well-oiled machine. It is one of those things where it's like just be happy you're here. Even with going to SmackDown this Friday, am I really excited about it? No, but at the same time, it's like it's they're in town. It is SmackDown. I get to see John Cena. Who knows if that's ever going to happen again. I get to see Rey Mysterio. Who knows how many more times that guy's going to wrestle. So I'm excited for it, but it's the fact that it's just the machine there, and it's like we're lucky to be there to witness it. But it's just overly produced and everything else. And I feel with AEW, they take advantage of the fans too, as far as just the fact that they know at the end they know that we're going to be easily entertained, so they know that they can just throw on good matches and not have to do good storyline. But at the same time, it's like they all need to do better in their own different ways. Like if each one could learn from each other, they'd both be stronger.
Right. And don't necessarily placate to the fans all the time. I mean, protect your company while you're at it, I mean, yeah, it's good to have the fans go home happy, but also make sure, if you're not going to make them happy, but not like on purpose unhappy, you know what I mean? Keep them entertained and be involved with the stories and all that. And that's going to be
especially
interesting.
like
We got AEW Collision coming here October 7th. So William, Sarah, and myself are going to be there. We'll kind of see how AEW does on this show.
How close are you guys sitting?
We're actually, I think, that 9th row starting for the upper row.
Nice.
I can't do floor seats just because it's
you're short.
No, it's just people don't tend to sit down on the floor, especially there in Salt Lake. They just don't have any consideration for the people viewing behind them. And not saying there's anything wrong with being a fan and cheering and standing up and all that, but sit down sometimes. Let the people behind you see.
Yeah, I've been ruined. Like after being front row for Dynamite, I'd either have to be front row or I'd be in the 100 sections too. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything else but that anymore.
Yeah, the seats that I don't know if you saw some of the pictures I posted from Raw last week. It's pretty similar to the seating like what we got for Collision, because I like to see it cross the way where they're coming down the aisleway or rampway, however they set up the arena for that particular show.
Yeah, it was crazy because for Dynamite or for SmackDown, I got my seats for $60, and because my uncle can't go, so I was trying to sell one, and it's like, and so I mean, some of it, but it's like even like this because they only have like 30 something seats left, and so they're all platinum seats. So like even like the 200s are going for $250 right now.
Wow. Holy Moses.
I'm like, fuck you, WWE. I can't believe they're charging that much. They're all every last ticket they have is considered a platinum seat.
Cravat mongering.
Yeah, I'm like, just because there's only 30 something seats left, and it's like they're literally all considered platinum seats right now. So if they're like even like in the 200s, it's $250. I'm like, wow.
when they announced SmackDown coming to Salt Lake City on February 16th, we were looking at what the floor seats were going to run. $525. I'm like, fuck no.
And that was just regular. That was like regular price.
That was just, I think it was like the first 2 or 3 rows in the.
Like that's before they even went platinum. They're probably 2,000 now.
Yeah, I'm just like, holy hell.
The platinum seat, and it wasn't like, I think I saw one. It's like it's on the other side, like not even facing the hard cam, like in the corner. It was like $2,500.
I remember back when the events were here, I could get the 5th row from ringside for like $80. And yeah, you don't see that anymore.
It's ridiculous. Because I was when I saw those prices, I was like, you know what? Even if I don't sell my ticket, I'm still paying less than those people, so I'm cool. Because I could probably sell the 2 tickets, but I still want to go. So I'm like I'm gonna go still.
Well, and that's my thing. I had a lot of missed opportunities in between my relationships, and I didn't want to miss any more. So I've been fortunate enough where Sarah's been nice enough to let me keep attending all the events that come here. So it's not that I feel like I need to be there. I want to be there,
Oh, it's still fun, And that's the thing. I'm gonna look tomorrow. The seats go on sale, and it's a special Collision Rampage on a Friday night, and they're going to be there in November in Oakland, and so I'm gonna look into that. So like I might go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because I think the Oakland. I think that's the place that they should always book at, because it's the old Golden State Warriors arena, and it's nicer than the Cow Palace, and they can probably get it cheap because it's not the brand newer one, but it's still state of the art enough to be good,
Definitely.
So, Chris, did you have any thoughts about the show tonight?
I mean, I popped for Captain Insano. Other than that,
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to have a few moments just because I'm rooting for AEW. I'll state my bias outright. I'll be a little bit of a contrarian, Chris, with the Jade Cargill. I think it's great that AEW was able to develop her to where she was willing to take her talents to another, bigger company. So I don't view that as a loss. I think in a strange way, it shows that, AEW was able to take somebody. I don't thought her in-ring was all that good to begin with. I think she's got a great I think she'll do great in WWE. But I'd like to see the best in-ring competitors pushed, the way she was in AEW. So I think that's a largely positive situation, because I think she's going to fit right in WWE. And I never really thought that she was the most polished in-ring technician. So, I'm fine with her going off to NXT, and then eventually, she's got a great look for the business. She's got a bright future. So I think it's good for people who are looking at AEW as a potential employer, and that's not closing the door on a WWE career. And I don't have a problem with people going back and forth between companies.
And at the same time, I think what you brought up was a good point too, because I think that the thing that AEW is going to benefit from is, so maybe it's like, it is going to I think it is going to be like the WCW, WWE days back again, because you're going to have like these younger talents that are going to go to WWE and they're going to flourish. But like, I think so again, thank you for your point of view, because I think that it's important that it's not necessarily a negative that these guys, that they showed something that they go to WWE, because vice versa. I think AEW is going to be the place where wrestlers can go and retire and kind of have and get to have this one last hurrah in a way that they wouldn't have before if there wasn't a AEW, because a guy like Christian, a guy like Samoa Joe, a guy like, let's say Adam Copeland, for example, is going to be rumored to be going over there. So I think that they're benefiting as well from the WWE machine by getting these guys. They get to go over there and have a name brand, and they get to build a company. So again, that's a really good perspective you have, because I think they're both going to benefit from what they want as far as their brands go in different ways. So I think at the end of the day, they're both going to benefit from each other. Because I do think, I think Adam Copeland and even though she's not in AEW, she's not in WWE, but I think Adam Copeland and Mercedes Moné for a CM Punk and Jay Cargill is a fair trade, if you ask me.
Well, now, do you really think that CM Punk's going to go over?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow. All right.
You heard it here, folks. Again, if I bet the farm that Adam Copeland's going to AEW and CM Punk's going to go to WWE, and the reason why I think that Triple H needs to show that he is that just like with Vince McMahon, he can do what's best for a business. And again, like with Vince bringing back the Warriors so many times, bringing back a Hogan, bringing back a Sid, bringing back a Jeff Jarrett, bringing back all these guys who did him wrong. I think this is Triple H's opportunity to show that he too can do what's best for business. And I think CM Punk's coming back. Absolutely. 100%.
All right. So do you think Steph and Triple H are divorced too?
That one I don't believe.
Yeah. Okay. I saw that post the other day and I'm just like, bullshit. I don't know who started that one, but
I think if anything, I think Stephanie, I think she's disgusted by her father. I think that she doesn't approve of her dad's actions and she doesn't want to be around him. That's my 2 cents.
Well, and I also believe that's probably part of the reason why she walked away from the company too, because she just can't tolerate what her father's done over the years. I really feel bad for Linda. That lady kind of seems like she's got her head on her shoulders and pretty level-headed, but find out your husband's been doing all that crap. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're surprised. I mean, I think they had an arrangement, but at the same time, it's a power trip, I mean, it just makes me sad because if I had that power, I wouldn't do that, I mean, you're gonna have plenty of people throwing themselves at you anyways. Why do you got to go and abuse people like that? It's just very sad, and it's a sad part of his legacy, but at the same time, it's a part of his legacy that'll be overshadowed because everybody wants to see the good in him, and just like other people, and when something, like people like the fact that people like assholes who get away with shit, and it's bad. It just doesn't say anything good for the moral of our country, but people are willing to look past all the bad shit just because they think he's badass, and it's sad. It really is, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, and I have a hard time looking past it. I'll always respect Vince McMahon as a businessman, but after hearing all the crap the last few years, it's just, I can't look at him in a different way, Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm not going to go too deep in the politics. It's like the way the majority feel about Donald Trump,
That's the thing. That's what I was talking about too. Yeah, exactly.
I don't normally like to bring politics in my platform. In fact, I typically ignore any responses to my questions that involve politics in any way possible. I don't care if it's left or right, up or down, inside out. You know what I mean? But
for sure.
I mean, that's generally the feeling of what I've seen Vince McMahon do. And like I said, I will always respect what he's done with his daddy's business, but I will never respect him.
And so to ask you the question that I ask other people on, if you had the opportunity to shake his hand, would you shake his hand?
Out of professionalism, yes.
Okay.
But I will not go, I would say I would not go out to dinner with him or have a conversation with him.
But you probably wouldn't go out of your way to shake his hand either, right? Like you're not going to stand in line to shake. That's exactly my answer. If the opportunity, if it presented itself out of professionalism, I would shake his hand, but I wouldn't wait in line to go shake his hand, or I wouldn't be fake and go try to meet him at a meet and greet, even though it's no, thank you. I pass.
and I know I can't sound like a dick. I really am not a dick in person, just to Carlos, but
Yeah, thanks. I'm the one that gets all the shit.
no, I love Carlos like brother. He knows it. You know, I'm, as my wife has described me many a times, I'm the one of the most friendly people you will ever meet. I'm not ever afraid to shake hands or say hi or have small talk, even though I suck at small talk. But I always have that look on my face, like, what
You
the
shit
hell?
your pants? I know, kind of.
No, like, what the hell do you want? And it's not really that look; it's just my natural look. Sorry, you know. Shit myself. Good lord. It's only
How about you, Chris? Would you shake his hand, Chris?
Oh, sorry. Who were you talking about?
Vince McMahon.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna meet him, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, there's only one person whose hand I've refused to shake. And that's because I knew what he was doing personally. I don't really get involved in, I know enough bad things about him that I wouldn't seek him out, but it's not really something I think about because the chances of me meeting him without trying are nil.
I feel you. All right. Appreciate it.
Well, I didn't know he was going to talk about me. Oh wait.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck John Hoppe. That should be a new meme.
That's right.
So let's talk about your predictions. Let's talk about predictions for NXT No Mercy. So the first match we're gonna have is the Fatal 4-Way match. So it's I'm gonna say Scripps' friends, which I'm really impressed with their athleticism. The guy who used to be a football player. He's badass. They're both really good. Them against Angel Garza, Roberto Carrillo against the Creed brothers and against the family. Who are you taking in that match?
And this is for the NXT Tag Team
Tag titles, yeah.
I think this one's just going to end up staying where it's at with the family.
Chris, did you want to make a prediction? Would you want to do NXT predictions with us, Chris?
Oh, no, I hadn't really thought
right.
about. I don't even.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah,
You're good. I thought I'd offer. All right. So then the next match we have is Baron Corbin against Braun Breaker. Who do you got?
That one is really a tough one. You have Baron Corbin trying to get momentum, and Braun Breaker's still been on quite the tear, even though losing the NXT Championship to Carmelo Hayes. I have to say Baron Corbin's going to give the nod to the young talent just because I think Braun Breaker is going to be coming up here soon. So I'm going to go with Braun Breaker winning this one.
I'm with you too. And again, I'm glad. I was like, I never saw Baron Corbin get released. But again, like to me, watching NXT like on Tuesday night, my attitude was like, again, it's sad to me. It's sad to me the guys who lost their jobs, but it could have been a whole lot worse. Like seeing Angel Garza and Roberto Carrillo there, and still seeing Dijak there, just brought a smile to my face. So as sad as I am for the people that lost their jobs, I'm happy that they kept a lot of these guys around still. So the next match we have is Noam Dar versus Butch for the NXT Heritage Cup.
Did I just hear that right?
Yep.
Oh, dear God. Yeah. And because I've been so in and out lately, how has the buildup been so far?
So it was actually they had a tournament for the Heritage Cup. So they actually brought over they brought Butch over, they brought Tozawa over from the main roster, and then it was them, and then it was Axiom, Joe Gacy, Nathan Frazier, Duke Hudson, and then I think Tyler Bate they were all in the tournament with Butch to determine the number one contender. They did a tournament, like they had an A and B bracket, and then they earned points just like they would for the Heritage Cup. And so it was a tie between Butch and Joe Gacy, and Butch won. So Butch he's earned the. It's been a good build, and honestly, they think they call them the metaphor. They're like one of the best parts of NXT right now. Like, because they're every week every time there's a match, they're up in the crowd dressed like different things. Like they were dressed as farm animals, I think, one time, and it was just funny. Like they've been killing it. They've been doing really good work. So I mean, I'm glad to see them getting rewarded. Like they're just dressed up and all. Like they've been doing cosplay. It's been really entertaining. If I'm being honest, I like it.
Even though you've sold the build-up well, my frustration is I think enough of the main roster has invaded as far as having the championships or props, as JR would call it. To me, we should have kept this more with the NXT talent. I think Noam Dar ends up retaining the NXT Heritage Cup.
And I'm with you. So here's my feeling about it. This is how I would like if I was the booker of this card. This is how I would do it. Every year when they have the draft, I would have SmackDown can lose stars to Raw, and then SmackDown can get stars from Raw as well. So I would have it where they get equal stars because SmackDown is like the has less people. I would have only NXT drafts go to Raw. But I would just again, it's just me booking it. I would have Raw and next NXT just to be be like the big brother, little brother program, I wouldn't have a problem if they did like that. Then you could have for the opportunity matches, breakout matches, whatever on Raw with before they got called up. There's just a lot of different ways they could do it with both shows being on the same network. So I would be okay with them using the Raw stars on NXT like that, but just keep SmackDown totally away from it. That's my one thing I would like to see.
Well, another thing you can look at is if you really want to try to get NXT going, cut Raw down to 2 hours and move some of that talent over to NXT. I mean, you've already got NXT and Raw being packaged as a together TV deal. Just like you mentioned, keep them together. No need to have the SmackDown people there.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I don't have a problem with using the main stars, but just keep it to Raw because it makes sense that they're on the same network, that they would float back and forth. Don't use the SmackDown talent on it. So the next match, again, speaking of main roster talent, the next match is Dominic Mysterio versus Trick Williams, and Dragon Lee is the special guest referee.
Oh boy. This sounds like it's going to be a mess. I think Dragon Lee somehow cost Trick the championship opportunity, and Dominic will retain.
So do you think that he's going to cost him on accident, or he's going to turn heel?
That I don't know. Are we betting on DraftKings all of a sudden now or something here?
I'm just asking a general question because the reason I ask this question is because I think Dragon Lee is a good asshole, and I want to see him be a heel, and I think he'd be better as a heel in NXT. And so I'm tired of the cute fake kind of. I feel like the fake smile, trying to kiss babies. Like I feel like he's probably a good guy in real life, but I feel like he wrestles like a heel. I just think his match. I think everything he does, he's better suited as a heel. I want him as a heel.
Well, remember when Shawn Michaels had a slow heel turn when he was like the special guest referee between Bret the Hitman Hart and The Undertaker for the WWF Championship? This is kind of the same scenario what I'm seeing here. You're going to see Dragon Lee be the Shawn Michaels and have that slow heel turn. He'll inadvertently cost Trick the championship, but in the process, he will become the heel while Trick stays as the face.
All right, I like that. I'm done. Again, I'm done for that. Like I said, to me, like I want to see him as a heel. So the next match we have, and then is Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton.
This should have been the match that happened at this event rather than a couple of weeks ago.
Like Becky should have won the title here.
Yes. I wouldn't put it past booking to put the championship back on Stratton. To me, it's a little early, but I think we need to have the NXT talent keep their championships on them, even though I just said Dominic's going to retain the North American Championship. I would love to see Tiffany Stratton become two-time NXT Women's Champion, and that's what I'm going to go with.
So you're gonna go with Tiffany.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go with Becky. So just in conjunction with this question, do you think Jade is going? Do you think Jade's going to the main roster first, or do you think she's going to NXT?
I think she goes to NXT.
All right. So to me, if you're gonna have her go to NXT, that's why I would have the belt. I'd have Becky keep the belt, and I'd have Jade beat her for the title.
Yeah, that could be another possibility right there. Just like Chris mentioned, she wasn't like AEW's top wrestler, but I did say she was the most dominant, and with that dominant presence, I think she will make an impact coming in. Whether she's going to challenge Becky or Tiffany, whoever wins that championship match, that's something we're all going to have to wait and see come Saturday.
And for me, I don't think that I just to me, like I feel like having her beat Becky for the title would to me, like that would set her up as the big star already, and it kind of like puts her in the waiting to come to the main roster. Let me ask you this question as well. So if let's say she starts off at NXT, and then do you want her at WrestleMania 40, or do you hold off a year? Or then if you do want her at WrestleMania, who do you have her facing?
I would have her hold off, but if she does go to WrestleMania 40, I think she needs to go up against Rhea Ripley.
So what would you do with Becky? Sorry about your luck.
Don't get me wrong. This does not take anything away from Becky, but she's already done it all.
All right.
I don't think having her
Savage. I like it.
I don't think having her wrestle Jade right now is the key thing. I would let that thing build up a little more. But Becky is a possibility. I just don't think Jade's ready for WrestleMania yet. I say let her get a full year in NXT, get her in-ring work touched up a little bit, and then let's kind of possibly look at her for WM41.
Okay, I like that. I agree with you. I think they keep her, but I think if they do bring her up, I'd like to see them go get Naomi for her to face Naomi at WrestleMania.
Did you say Naomi?
Uh-huh.
Oh boy. Okay.
Well, because I don't want to take away from the other matches, because I think that Charlotte and Bianca is a natural match that's going to happen. I think Rhea and Becky's a natural match that's going to happen. I don't want to see Nia Jax versus Jade. I just don't want to see that. And so to me, like I was like, if they want her at WrestleMania, I would try to bring Naomi back to face of WrestleMania. That's just my train of thought as far as that goes.
Another thought is maybe have Jade up against Bailey too.
That's another one. I mean, I could see that. I'd be fine with that too.
And as much of a fan as I am of both Jade and Bailey, I would be saying, Sarah, you need to leave the room.
Oh, good Lord! Whoa! All right. John has the lotion by his remote.
Oh, come on now. Let's not get that far yet.
And then in the main event, we have Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov.
Ooh, another tough one to call. Ilya is very deserving of that NXT World Championship. However, I think he's also deserving of being brought up to the main roster, but so is Carmelo Hayes. And
Here's a question I have for you. Do you think with them keeping B-Fab and keeping Tahuti Miles, keeping those two guys, keeping those two around, do you think they're keeping them to pair them with Carmelo on the main roster?
Possibly, and that could be the reason why Top Doll is gone. But and keep in mind, folks, the releases aren't totally done yet. So, and I wasn't trying to hint anything there. Yeah, it's a possibility if they're going to keep B-Fab and Ashante. So there could be a possibility Elia's winning this, and even though it's not as long as his reign with the North American Championship, he still put up a good run with the NXT Championship. I think Elia's going to walk away and become the new NXT champion.
All right. So you think it's, and to me, like, it's hard for me too, because like I want to pick Carmelo, but at the same time, I'm like, why would they book Elia in this match if he wasn't going to win it? Because to me, he's already had a title match. Carmelo's already beat him before. I think for the North American title, or they already fought for this title. I think he beat him in a 3-way match, didn't he? Already for this title.
I think it was actually a ladder match, if I remember.
Okay.
Right. It was the 5-way ladder match that I think Cameron Grimes or Wesley ended up winning. It was one of those two.
Gotcha. But I know they've already fought before. So to me, if they're booking this match, I'm gonna go with Elia too. Why not? Let's speak it into his existence, as they say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Elia wins this. They have a rubber match for the NXT North America, or not NXT North American. They have a rubber match involving the NXT Championship, but this time Elia will retain that, and I think we might possibly see both Trick and Carmelo move up to main roster. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think I'm okay with ending this tonight. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? I figured we could talk. We could do Wrestle Dream predictions on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll come back on Sunday Takedown and go over our predictions for Wrestle Dream. In fact, we may even try to air a little early if Carlos is able to make it. So, but yeah, why don't we go ahead and wrap it up for the night here?
All right. If you guys couldn't find us tonight because of the technical difficulties we're having earlier, I do apologize for that. Hopefully you guys listen to the replay. But again, we'll be back Sunday at 3:00 Eastern, 12 Pacific, or maybe a little earlier with our takedown episode. And then again, we'll be talking about giving our Wrestle Dream predictions, and then also going over SmackDown. I can give my experience from being there on Friday night, and we'll also talk about Collision. Other than that, and then again, we'll be back here next week after Dynamite's over. But yeah, let's take it out, guys.
Hey,
Real
also
quick on Ilya Dragunov, I'd like to see him in the main roster with Imperium in time for a Survivor Series match where they could have a 4-on-4 Imperium versus somebody else, traditional Survivor Series match. So that's just my little Ilya Dragunov want. Since I was negative on somebody else's in-ring progress, I think Ilya Dragunov is ready for the main roster.
I wouldn't mind that either. I wouldn't mind it with Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's WFI's post AEW Dynamite show. Want to give a big shout out to the Sage Dub Network. We've been a real happy member of the group lately, and big shout out to each and every one of them who's mentioned us in their spaces as well. Doesn't go unnoticed with all the shout outs and everything. Big shout out to Chris Haas for joining us as usual every Wednesday night. Also want to shout out Jim over at Fan in the Van. Is This a Bad Take podcast? Wow, you got some trains going there, Carlos.
Yep.
Yeah, we got Carlos, the big tutor there. Oh,
I can.
sorry. I also want to give
How dare you? At least you didn't go with running a train joke.
You're gonna pay for this, John Hoppe. I'm gonna turn my mic off.
I'm sorry, folks. We like to have some fun on this podcast, but also want to give a shout out to Two Dudes Sports News, 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. Big shout out to Austin Boyard over there at Wrestling World, Ted the Hillbilly Hill with the Hill Truth, BC Hunter with Wrestling with the Truth, and also Wrestling with the 80s. And if I'm missing anybody else, I'm sorry. Carlos, did you have any shout outs to give if you want to unmute your mic now?
Just our other partners on the show, Bryan the Hype Ballard, the Brian Atkins, Bama Girl for Heather Roll Tide Bitches, and then also William. Hope to have you guys join us soon. Hope everything's going well with you guys. And just a special shout out to Sarah, Execution 84. Appreciate you. And just everyone else who supports us. All the guys at the SCM crew. I was joined with their little podcast earlier today, just listening in. Again, they're supporters of the show as well, and appreciate you guys as well. That's all I got.
And it's over.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decided it is. Was it over in the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor?
The Germans.
Let's get out of here.
Isn't that what I'm supposed to say? The Germans?